Hello and welcome to the brand new show, Howl Like an Alpha. Ow! All right, everybody. If you don't know who I am, I'm Greg Schumacher. I have a few other shows on YouTube and other places. I have a show named The Rise Up Radio Show and another show that goes with that called The Power Hour. And on those shows, we are live. We have I have two other co-hosts, one my wife and one Jaren, and those are more of a conspiracy theory, truth-telling show, and I get censored a lot. So we're gonna try this show, not getting censored. We're gonna talk more of relationships and masculine things and feminine things and all those type of things and health and fitness. So we'll see how this goes, and I also have another show called The Couples Therapy, where I do that with my wife, and that's kind of more of a comedy, entertainment type thing. My wife is very sarcastic, so we have a lot of fun. And so I brought this show to life. I really have a lot to offer. I have a lot to say, and I thought I would bring this show up, and let's talk about, in my past, I've been a personal trainer, a life coach. I've been into all kinds of fitness, movement training and yoga and obviously bodybuilding and powerlifting and, all those type of things, from hiking to biking. I've done all kinds of stuff in my life, Olympic rings. So I have a lot to offer in that field. And then nutrition, man, I have been... the gamut of nutrition. I've been a vegan at one point. I've done the fruitarian diet. I've done the caveman diet and the, all meat and protein diet and those type of things, healthy fats, intermittent fasting. So all kinds of stuff. I've been there and done that. I like philosophy and therapy. I like how the human brain thinks and how we interact as human beings, especially relationships. I've had my share of relationships for sure and all the adventures that come with them. And we can talk a lot about that stuff. And I finally found somebody that I wanted to settle down with and get married. So we'll talk about that stuff as well. So this show will probably be a little bit more towards men, but women, of course, are invited. And we'd love to hear from you guys when we have, this show kind of more live and we have more followers and all that type of stuff. And I can do chats and I can have people call in. So we'll do that type of show down the road. But I think this information could be good for both sides of the spectrum as it is human beings. So I'm also an author of a book. This book right here, it's called Greg's Revolution Fitness Presents a Guide to the Healthiest You, Mind, Body, Soul. And I'm sorry for the green screen is acting up on the cover, but you can get that on Amazon. Really good book, $12, and it has all kinds of information in it, from perception training to intermittent fasting to meditation to just nutrition and an exercise program in there as well. So really cool stuff. A lot of stuff to read and learn. I talk about true freedom, those type of things, and just trying to get the mind, body, and the soul in the right spot. So not only am I in the fitness field, and not only am I in nutrition, and not only am I into that kind of the spectrum, the alpha spectrum. I also like a spirituality and the idea of finding yourself and meditation and those type of things. So when we think about alpha, it's a big word, alpha and a beta, right? And so what is a true alpha? Can you be a version of alpha? What's an alpha male or female now compared to what an alpha male would be back when? So there's a lot to unwrap right there. So we'll be talking about all that kind of stuff. Today, I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about TRT, which is something I'm on, which is testosterone replacement therapy. I work with a doctor named Dr. Meehan, and he's fantastic. And I've been on TRT for about a year now, and I'm loving it. I'm 43 years old, and we we don't realize how much toxins and pollution and everything else is in the world around us. Uh, and everything we eat, everything we drink, even the sunscreen we put on, everything changes our hormone levels and screws around with who we are as human beings. So you have to be careful on, how your hormone levels are, what is a true healthy human being, and are you near what a healthy human being would be. So I got interested in TRT. I watched a couple of people, talk shows, different things, and I got really interested in it. And I contacted Jim Meehan, and I decided to learn more about it, and I really did have been really enjoying it. It's been a really good experience, and I wanted to kind of present that to you guys out there, and also women can also benefit from TRT. We don't realize that women also benefit from testosterone, just not as much, obviously. But Dr. Meehan works with women as well, and their blood levels and everything, and what they need in their diet and their system. So when it's not only testosterone, but when your blood is tested, and especially by a doctor like Dr. Meehan, he looks at so many categories that most doctors or clinics won't test all those type of things for whatever reason. And he is able to test all those things for you. So even your vitamin D levels, he tests them. I was low, so I got on a supplement, and that's been fantastic as well. Vitamin D is very, very important to the body. So a lot of stuff there. So, if you guys are interested, I would definitely look up what TRT is and figure it out, because throughout history, if you look back at what a testosterone level for a normal man would be back 100 years ago, we're actually 50% less right now. So whatever reason, whether it's toxins or the way we have our lifestyles, maybe we stare at screens all the time and we're maybe lazier. We don't get outdoors as much. Back then, maybe it was a lot more outdoor activity and a lot more tough work. And, it just naturally increased our testosterone levels. But there's many things that can contribute to it. But we are about 50% less. So, as you hit your late 30s and 40s, man, you really feel it, because at about 25, the male starts declining his testosterone, and all the way to death, he declines his testosterone, little at a time. So when you're in your 35 to 40 range, that's definitely a good time to really look into it. And now I've seen a lot of cases where young men, even 18-year-olds, 20-year-olds, don't have good testosterone levels for whatever reason, maybe their lifestyle or whatever. They have low testosterone. Isn't that amazing? So, at 18 or 20 years old, you should have an erection that'll ring a dinner bell. That's just the way it is. That's what, God made you like. And so there's definitely issues there if you can't, if you're not, if you don't have good testosterone levels in your body. So we will get more into that on later episodes. And also, I'm thinking about, making a members only club or a meeting only club where we can go and we can really unwrap some of this stuff, really get into the details, talk about, how it works, the injection sites, those type of things. And, really go detail oriented so everybody can really understand it. Cause I had to look on YouTube to figure out how to use this stuff. And, there's cream and there's needles, and so that stuff can be a little scary or a little bit intimidating at first. So the other thing I want to talk about is intermittent fasting. So this thing is an amazing miracle to me. I've been talking about this for many years. In my book, I have a chapter on it. Intermittent fasting. If you don't know what fasting is, it's going periods of time without eating. So, it's just a way of letting the body relax its digestive system and be able to use that energy for other parts of the body, healing and all that kind of stuff. So the big thing behind intermittent fasting is you go 12 to 16 hours, right, without eating. So let's say you finish dinner at 6 o'clock the night before. So you sleep. Let's say you get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. That would be 12 hours. And then let's say you go all the way till 9, 10 o'clock. There's your 16-hour window before you eat anything, like how many calories. So the point of that is your body really thrives in that environment. It actually helps increase testosterone. It helps your human growth hormone. It helps your cells regenerate, which is called autophagy. So it gets rid of the bad cells in your body and brings in new ones, creates new ones. So that's really, really good stuff. So it's going to bring you a little bit, make you a little bit younger. There's a lot of good stuff to the intermittent fasting. So, and it's a very simple thing. When we talk about diets are usually very hard to stick with, right? You can do them for a little while. You can, go on your no carb diet, but after 3 weeks, it just starts falling apart a lot of times. That takes a lot of discipline to stay away from carbs, right? And so, what other effects is it having in your cravings as well? When you're not having those carbs, your cravings get really even harder to ignore. So if we can kind of do this fasting thing and then eat pretty good, you don't have to eat perfect, but you eat pretty good during your feeding window. Let's say it's a 6 to 10 hour feeding window. A lot of times it's really good to have two or three meals in there. And then you go back to fasting the next day, and you do that for a month. You get used to not skipping breakfast. You get used to not having a snack before bed. So those type of things. And then you start to see the results, right? Your body starts stripping down. And, we talk about attraction, right? Human people and attraction. And I heard a study that men think that women are attracted to a man who's got a lot of muscle on his body, or a big man, right? And the study said that men overestimate how much weight they should have on their body, or whatever, muscle, by 50 pounds. So what does that tell you? It tells you that a woman's looking for a swimmer's body. What is a swimmer's body? It's a V shape, right? So wide shoulders and thin hips, right? Or thin abdomen, right? And then try to get the body fat down. Because the lower the body fat, the more your muscles are going to show, and they're going to look bigger than they really are. If you look at actors in Hollywood, right? And you think about Captain America, the guy who played Captain America, he was only 170, and I think he's 6'2", I believe. So 170 pounds, that's it. And then you look at Brad Pitt in the movie Troy. I mean, that guy, I think he was 150 something pounds in that movie. So he was super thin, right? But that's a lot of times what women are attracted to. Just the V shape, the little bit wider shoulders, and so packing on all that muscle, it's an ego thing, right? And you're thinking you're getting yourself more attractive, but actually you may be going the other way somewhat. I mean, there's always, that's a generalization. There's always different ways of looking at it, and there's going to be some women out there that are going to find a very, very muscular guy very attractive. But this is average stuff, right? Average stuff. So, it's not too complicated to get a V shape, So a little bit of working out, picking up heavy stuff, depending on what age you are and what level testosterone you have and how quickly you recover. I mean, that could be 4 or 5 times a week. That could be twice a week, right? But it's the fact is getting in the gym, getting some lifting done, and making yourself healthy, number one, but number two, attractive, right? Because that's part of human nature. That's part of living in this world. Is attraction's a big thing. So we'd like to feel attractive because that's going to also boost our confidence in many other areas. We're going to be successful in many other areas, including business, money, negotiations, friendships, anything, anything. Confidence is a big thing in this world right now. So, the better you feel about yourself, the more self-esteem you have, and it doesn't have to be egotistical self-esteem, right? You don't want to be arrogant, but you definitely want to be confident and almost to a point overconfident, because you would like to have goals that you feel like you could achieve, but maybe people will look at you and go, "Oh my God, you can't achieve that," right? You get to hear the old no, right? You can't achieve that, but yeah. So in life, we want to be attractive. So that's why we do what we do, right? We go out, as men, we go out and get the sports car, right? Or a nice looking car, or a nice looking truck, whatever it is, whatever lady you're looking for, right? And then you groom yourself a certain way, right? You get a style about you as you grow up, as you mature into your 20s. You figure out your style, right? What do I wear? What am I right now? Am I sporty? Am I cowboy? What am I, right? Am I a businessman? I'm going to wear a suit every single time I go out to a bar, which is exhausting. I have a friend that does that all the time. But what are you? Who are you? And that's one of the biggest questions. And that's why I love spirituality, because you find out who you are, right? And then you get a whole nother level of confidence. So it's good stuff. And we will touch on that on a later date as well. But talking about the intermittent fasting, that's gonna thin you down. That's gonna bring you the V-shaped body that you're looking for. You do a little working out, you do that intermittent fasting, and even if let's say you're 40 or 50 pounds overweight, that intermittent fasting is going to help you drop the weight very quickly if you stick with it. I've had so many clients do fantastic work on intermittent fasting, but you got to stick with it. You can't have the calories in between your non-feeding window, right? Only in your feeding window. So it's a training thing. And once you got the habit down, it becomes pretty simple. You almost get used to it. You almost feel weird if you eat breakfast. So that's where you want to head when that happens. So, and then, not eating out at restaurants as much, because that food's just full of butter and salt and sugar and all kinds of other stuff. So stay away from the sodas, guys. No soda. I don't even care if it's diet. Stay away from it. Get some good water in your system. I think about myself this way sometimes. I go to my parents' house, and as a kid, my mother always had tons and tons of snacks in the house, right? Everything was sugar. Little Debbie cakes and ice cream and you name it, she probably had it in her cupboard, every cookie. And, I would go through, I'd get home from school and I'd have a big pig out session, right? Bunch of snacks. And have some snacks at night too, before bed, snacks. And I realized that when I go over to her house, even now as an adult at 43 years old, boy, oh boy, does those snacks call to my name, right? And I leave her house, and I've had a few snacks. I've had some chocolate, and I've had this, and I've had that, and not stuff that I normally have. I'm usually a pretty clean eater. Once in a while I get in a bad kick, and especially in the summer, the wife wants to go out and have some ice cream, and I'll indulge, and then the next thing you know, I'm having it 4 nights a week, and I don't know what to do if I don't have it. I can't go to sleep without having it. This is what the brain does to you. This is the habit that you need to break, and that's one of the biggest lessons in life, is to not have habits, right? Good habits, yeah, but not have habits. To be able to say that's not a habit, right? Eating meat, I can skip a day without eating meat, and it's not a big deal. That means it's not a habit. If I have a habit of, going by this certain ice cream place every day and needing to stop and eat it, right? That's a habit. How do I break it? Well, probably going to be a little tough, right? I got to maybe take a different route with the car. Maybe I got to, I'm going to get peer pressure from the family. We're going to go to the ice cream place, and I have to sit in the car and say, I'm not having it tonight. So there's a lot to breaking habits, and that's really one of the most important things. It's not the action. The action isn't bad, right? The once in a while cigar or the once in a while drink of alcohol. the once in a while, smoking pot, whatever it might be, your vice, right? It's the habit. It's that it becomes a daily or a semi-daily or a multiple daily, action. And then that's your habit. And that's not good. That's not good at all. So when I'm talking about intermittent fasting, I know I keep on kind of jumping around, but intermittent fasting, I just find to be a miracle. And so this guy, Dr. Jason Fung, I'm going to show you a video. I made this for my other show, Rise Up Radio Show. I do a health minute every week. But I'm going to show you this clip. It's about 6 minutes long. And it's really good introduction into intermittent fasting and all it can do. So you guys enjoy. Hello and welcome to another Health Minute. This week we are going to talk about fasting. On this previous show, The Power Hour, we had guest Zoe Annabelle on, and we were talking about fasting because she was in the middle of a 3-day fast. She ended up going 74 hours.
I did mine last year. Once I got to day 3, it was easy. I actually wasn't hungry. I decided to eat after 72 hours, but I felt like I could have went another day or two, honestly. But the first day, you feel more uncomfortable.
So, what's the big importance of the fasting, right? Why is it so amazing? Why is it talked about so much? Why is it a spiritual thing? It's been written in a lot of spiritual texts. What's going on with fasting? So let me show you a video, and then we'll talk about it.
What we're doing here is reversing all of type 2 diabetes and all its downstream complications with fasting.
It's very different than when someone simply cuts calories.
Fasting was 6 times better at getting rid of the dangerous fat.
Probably the number one thing that I noticed is weight control. I went 7 days and lost 20 pounds.
I lost 40 pounds.
I never gained it back.
I've lost close to 100 pounds and still counting.
You actually can work out harder than you've ever done.
I've always worked out on an empty stomach in a fasted state.
I was taking 210 units of insulin a day. I haven't had insulin since.
Now think about the fact that 100 million Americans are either diabetic or pre-diabetic.
They don't have this type 2 diabetes problem anymore.
That's all they need to do.
It saved my life.
It's like better than medicine.
There's nothing in medicine today that can induce these effects.
I was on medication for high blood pressure as well as for cholesterol.
And 2 weeks later, she came in and her blood pressure was normal.
And I'm no longer taking a statin drug.
So your fatty liver is completely reversed.
Anti-inflammatory.
A host of autoimmune diseases.
And that was in 2010, and I haven't had a headache since.
It's really not a medical condition because it's totally reversible.
The 3 most influential people in the history of the world, Jesus Christ, the Prophet Muhammad, and Buddha, probably only agreed on one thing, and that was the power of fasting.
Fasting is an essential part of our Christian faith. Christ taught it by his own example.
I need to tell everybody about the fasting. I need to tell everybody because I think it's going to save sanity. I think it's going to save lives.
At least in my fasting cycles are as powerful as chemotherapy.
Continued to see that lump diminish until now it's gone.
No cancer.
For 21 years, I have been cancer-free.
The challenges about fasting is that there's a lot of misinformation out there and there are several different types.
Whether you're talking about an overnight fast, or you're talking about a 24-hour fast, or you're talking about 5-day or 10-day or 20-day, people and journalists and everybody likes to use the same word, right? And this is very confusing because each turns on a completely different process.
All right, so when we talk about fasting, it's very much like a miracle in some ways because we're giving our body a break, and it's almost part of our natural evolution of living daily life. When we were living off the land, when we were trying to survive, there was many days that went by where we couldn't find food. So we would naturally fast. It was just part of the system. And then as we got more into the spirituality side of it, they really encouraged it, right? Fasting was encouraged. And even in like Rome and different places like that, where some of the ancient gods were there, and the stories you've heard, they were talking about 40 days of fasting before you could actually be admitted into a school or stuff like that. So very interesting stuff behind fasting. I've used it as a tool for a very long time. I found it to be very helpful and a very easy way of dropping weight. I've helped a lot of clients and friends drop weight like that very quickly. Over a month, 2 month, 3 month period of time, weight they've never been able to get rid of comes off very quickly. Fasting is an amazing thing, and as they said in the video, I believe, it's like a refrigerator, right? And a freezer. You have a freezer side and refrigerator side. The refrigerator side is quick energy, right? The freezer side is the reserved energy that's stored, in different places in your body. The fat, right, that you see, or the bloating. And the only way to open this freezer is when the refrigerator is empty. So how do you empty that refrigerator? Through fasting. And over the many hours of fasting, you're now able to get rid of what's in the freezer. So intermittent fasting and fasting, I've wrote about it in my book, and we've talked about it many times on the show. There's many different resources out there. If you're interested, please write the show or write me, and we can talk about it more, or look it up yourself on YouTube and many different sources. All right, guys, that was your Health Minute. All right, guys. So you see that I do those health minutes on a weekly basis over there on the other channel. I'll be sharing more of those on this channel. But you see how the fasting is such a great tool in the tool chest, right? Not only we talked about TRT, but we talk about intermittent fasting to really help take the weight off, make us nice and lean. That's what the ladies like, it seems. So. Yeah, that would be the way to go. I would suggest for a way of lifestyle, not just a diet. So I use it on a daily basis. I usually wait till lunch to eat, and then I quit at dinner time, and I use the rest of the time just to fast and let my body heal up. Let my body, as they say, have no traffic on the road, so the road can be fixed, and replace all those cells and make yourself a younger version of yourself. So fantastic stuff there. So if you have any questions about that, I'm sure later on in further episodes when we go live and I'll have some call-ins or some people chatting, we can talk about more questions that have to do with fasting. So yeah, guys, that covers testosterone replacement therapy and intermittent fasting, two of the things I'm very passionate about. The other thing that I think that we're going to touch a lot on this show is relationships, because I think out of almost everything on this planet, that is one of the most triggered and controversial subjects that goes on. And the further we get into technology, the further we get into using our phones to date instead of in-person interaction, or even cold pickups, that is the number one controversial subject. And how we treat each other in dating situations, how we treat each other just when you're trying to meet somebody at first. There's a lot to unpack there. I've been through a lot of different types of relationships, a lot of different types of women, a lot of different types of longevity, moving in, moving out, those type of things. So I have a lot of experience there. I was also engaged one other time before I married my wife. So there's a lot there. There's a lot to uncover between male and female and relationships. I'm not going to really cover any other type of relationship because I don't have experience in them, such as a woman or a man or whatever. So I'm just going to cover male and female relationships. You can put your own spin on it if you need to when it comes to the other types of relationships. So, yep, when we talk about how I got to the point at 40, let's see, I was 41 years old when I got engaged, and then 42 when I got married, I believe. So, why did it take me so long to get married, and why did I choose at 42 years old to finally, do it? So, you know, when you go as a man, when you go through a lot of experiences, um, it's one of those things where you don't know if you'll ever settle down. There was times where I thought I might be a bachelor my whole life. There was times where I thought I was just done with women for a while, and I'm not going to date anymore. And we do all the we say all the things that sound good at the time. It's just like if your pet dies, right? You're like, I'm not going to get another dog or whatever, and a few weeks go by, and you say, all right, I'm going to start looking for a dog. So, that's just the way we are as humans. We react a certain way at first, and then as time goes by, we tend to loosen our stance a little bit and get back into the game. And that's a blessing because, imagine a world where when people quit or give up, they never go back to it. Where would we be, right? Would we even have survived this planet? We'd still be on here right now if we had given up. So the human spirit is a sensitive one at times, but it's also a very, very cool and very strong spirit. So when we talk about relationships, I think that is one of the most difficult, hardest, most controversial thing that you can go through. And I hear that even being married is even way harder than dating and long-term relationships. It's just, there's just another dynamic to continually keeping your marriage healthy, alive, keeping both of you happy where you are, being able to grow individually and as a couple in this marriage. So very interesting stuff. I've been married now a year and a half, and so I'm relatively young to a marriage. So we'll see what happens in 10 years time and so on and so forth. So, but we all hope for the best, of course, and we have positive mindset, and we make sure that we date our wife or our husband. We continually date them. Okay, that keeps things alive. You have to make sure that you're nurturing that relationship, that it feels like you're still dating, right? It's not a sit back, put your hand down your pants on the couch and just get comfortable in a marriage, right? And you gotta continuously put effort forward, and that's a big one. And me and her have 3 boys, so I have 1 and she has 2, so we have that also going on at the same time. So that's a whole nother story for you, and how I got to pick a girl with 2 kids, right? Taking on that responsibility wasn't my first choice, I'll tell you right now. And that's nothing against my wife. She knows the story. But for years and years, I tried to go for the women who didn't have kids. And then at one point, just women that had 1 kid or less. That was my rule. And, it's just one of those things where I was just so, I guess, disgusted with the dating field, and it was hard to be a single father, and a girl or a woman who didn't have a kid yet, to understand what it was like to be a parent and why I needed to put more attention on my son sometimes than her. And so there was some tough times there. And I felt like, geez, what can I do here? And the one guy that I work with, he says to me, well, maybe you got to give a girl with 2 kids a chance. And so I opened my dating profile, right, and changed the little check mark to 2 kids. And yep, I just happened to find my wife that way. So, whatever that was, I think it was one of those things where she just had a lot of appreciation for who I was and really gave me a lot of respect. She's a tough cookie. I say that when I met her, she was like a rose, but you had to go up the thorns first in order to get to the rose. So it was a lot of tough times on me, but I was very weathered in dating, and I could take on somebody who was going to be very standoffish and continuously pursue. And that's what happened. I just kept on pursuing and didn't get scared off by her tactics, and broke through the barrier, So that's, one of those things where it could have went either way, right? Somebody who's pushing you away all the time, sometimes that's a very, very difficult place to be in. And you just, a lot of times you just want to give up. You just want to say, all right, screw you. I'm leaving. I'm going to go and date some other girls. I'm not putting up with this. So, it's one of those things where, I was able to stick it out and gain her trust enough to start to really get to know her and her to really get to know me. And that was that. I mean, she called me a snake charmer. She thought I was full of BS, right? She thought I had read the book, The Game by Neil Strauss, and I was running game on her. And that is true. I did read the book, and it is true that I did use a couple of games on her from the book. There is a game that is called The Cube, and I used that on her too. But they're just little fun games to try to get somebody to open up and to learn a little bit about their personality. But it was those type of things that she would say to me. You're a snake charmer. You're just telling me what you want to hear. You just want to get laid or whatever you want to call it. And so that wasn't why I was there. I was kind of over those phases. At 40 years old, I just wanted to find somebody that made sense. That was all I wanted to find. I wanted to find somebody that made sense. So that's what I ended up doing. And as they say, the rest is history up till now, So I'm very, very content right now with my wife. And she's a very petite girl and very pretty. And she loves her social media and those type of things. So I had to get used to that because I'm not a big social media person. I don't post a lot of things. I don't, do those type of things. And she's very much like that. So I had to get used to that. That was a tough adjustment. There was a lot of tough adjustments. I'm a little bit of an introvert. So she got me out of the house a lot more. She liked to go out and do things and party and see people. And obviously with the lockdowns now, it's not as easy, but that was our life. She really did open me up and, show me something new, which is good for me. It was good for me. And that's something that some people don't look at that way. Some people look at it as, oh my God, I don't want to do it. And I'm afraid to do it and I'm not going to do it. Right. And so I just went with it and said, well, this is the girl that's in my life right now. She wants to go out, and go to bars and go to dance clubs and do those type of things. I guess I'll see what it's all about and see if I like it. And she made me feel comfortable enough in those situations, and we really did have a good time, and I started to really enjoy some of those nights out. So that's what happens sometimes when you get in relationships, and they really do push your limits and change who you are in some ways. It just has to be, you have to be okay with it, and it has to be something where the two of you can grow with, right? It's not just a selfish act where if you don't go with me, then we're over, or if you don't go with me and participate, I'm going to go find another guy who's going to do it, so it wasn't that way. It wasn't forceful, but it was one of those things where she was something she enjoyed. And I said, all right, I'm going to be adventurous. I'm going to try this out. I'm going to go out and enjoy myself. Now, it wasn't like I never went out, but I enjoyed being at home a lot. And that was just my thing. I just enjoyed home life and the quiet of it. You go to work all day. I wanted to come home, work out, have some plans to do a few things in the house, and that was it. That was my night a lot of times, and maybe once or twice a week, go and do something, but go grab some buddies or whatever and go do something. But yeah, that was a big change to me. So a lot of things with these relationships that we don't realize, they're going to push our limits. They're going to push us or push our buttons. And maybe it was made that way, right? Maybe there was a reason why men and women were made so differently and looked at life so differently, because boy, we do. So we will discuss that more at some point. I will also have videos and things around the internet. I'll be popping up on the screen. I will get a chat board going when we get enough people watching, and those type of things. So this was the first episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and we will be unpacking a lot more things. If you didn't see my book or you didn't go check it out, go check it out on Amazon. It's A Guide to the Healthiest You, Mind, Body, Soul by Greg Schumacher. So go check that out. $12. Great read, and it'll give you a little background on who I am and all those type of things that I do, and I do even more since the book. But this is what I love to do and love to talk to you guys, and maybe we can open some minds and we can help you along in life and get you on the right track, get you out of your rut. I know that with the lockdowns and all this stuff going on, it's been a difficult year span since last March. And, a lot of us are having trouble finding motivation to go work out. A lot of us are having trouble going out and finding somebody to date. A lot of us are having trouble, just feeling healthy and good and happy. So I hope to bring you some stuff that will unlock those things inside of you and give you a little motivation to get out there and do it. So everybody, thank you for joining me for the Howl Like an Owl Alpha. And you guys, I'll see you next time. All right.